We're back for more Atari 2600 Plus update goodness. Let's find out. What's going on, everyone? It's Rich Haywood here for Bacon Ice Cream Productions and Team RTFC, welcoming you to yet another episode of Good Times with Retro Rich. Yeah, that's right. This is an update to either later on today or earlier on today's video or later or yesterday's video. I'm not exactly sure whether or not this is going to go out on the Friday or the Saturday, but the Friday video is what we're talking about right now. We're talking about the Atari VCS, or not the VCS, the 7800 and 2600 Plus update problems, where I went on a quest to go ahead and try to see if I can replicate issues that friend of the channel, co-YouTuber BCB, Ballistic Coffee Boy, was having with his 2600 and 7800 pluses, like I got right here, these guys right here. And what he was having trouble with was actually doing the update process, which I thought was pretty interesting. The reason I found it interesting was because we did a newsline on the very thing, on that very thing. I went in and went to the blog and shared this little screen here that I'm about to show you, saying, hey, you can go to atari.com/blogs/newsroom/updating your Atari 2600 firmware, and there it is. It's an article on the 23rd. We did, like I said, did the newsline, and then right there, right along with everyone on that same video, I clicked this link over here that says download the 7800 Plus update tool, and then updated the console, and it was cool, and it was fun. But that wasn't the experience on everyone, or for everyone, I should say. The update experience was maybe a little different for some. So today, I'm actually going to, this is part 3 of this process, I'm going to download the update tool for the 2600 Plus. I'm going to run the updater while we're on camera again. Only this time I'm doing it for the second time, but now here at Studio A on this machine, because I want to see if I can confirm something. And what I want to confirm is that the problem with the update tool may be something is missing in the tool. I'm not positive that's going to work. I'm not positive that I'm even barking up the right or wrong tree. I'm just fascinated by the story and wanted to go along for the ride. Let's put it that way. So I'm almost done downloading the 2600 version, the 2600 Plus version of the firmware updater, which is what we want because we're going to update this 2600 Plus. And I was able to successfully update the 7800 Plus by using the same exact method on this very machine. This is the cable that we used in the 2600 Plus update video. I'm going to actually use this cable here because 1, it's plugged in already, and 2, it's the cable that I used to plug in the 7800 Plus. So it might be the cable, it might not be the cable. I'm doubtful though, because it didn't do anything, and it didn't act the way that I thought it was going to act. So so here we go. We're going to go ahead and go to this update tool right here. I'm loading it right now. Firmware updater. So that's interesting that the firmware update tool for the 2600 is listed as 2.0.1.4, and the firmware update tool for the 7800 is listed as 2.0.1.4.1, indicating that there was another revision to the update tool. Could that be an issue? I don't know. Let's find out. So here we are, though, and we've got the update tool ready to run. And we're going to share that screen here. There's the update tool. There we go. I can click the start button there. I'm also going to have the instructions, as I did before. Pull these over here. Pull the tool over here. All right, and it says to click Start on the update tool, and then turn off the power switch on the 2600 plus. It is off. Connect the power cable to a USB port on the PC, which we do have. Okay, we're going to put that in here. I don't hear anything because it's powered off, so it should not do anything. You don't need the HDMI to connect it. Then we're going to hit Next. Then we have to set the TV type to black and white. It is now black and white. We're going to hold down the Game Select switch and quickly flip the power switch on. Now notice when we opened this, right? We all noticed that there wasn't a thing that said anything about drivers, right? You know, like the other ones. So hold on, stand by. Hold down the Game Select switch and quickly flip the power button on. Continue to hold the Game Select. 1, 2, 3 seconds before releasing. I heard and then saw the now it says Atari Dumper driver device thing saying it's ready to go. I'm going to hit update now, and I'm almost guaranteeing you that it's going to update. So let's hit the update button and look at the progress bar. It found it and is going to update the 2600 plus. And it says power off the 2600 plus. When it says to do so, we turned it off. Then click Next. Click Next. And then we go to switch the TV type to color. There we go. And hold down the game reset and do the same thing. Game reset. Turn it on. And we hold it for 1, 2, 3 before releasing. We release. And then we hit update. And it is initializing the device, checking firmware, and installing the boot drivers and boot loaders and the firmware to the device. So we are now 99.999999999% positive as to what the issue is. It is going to do the update. And then it should say update complete, which it does. And we can go ahead and hit finish there. And then we can turn this off and disconnect the device. So now we have a working and updated Atari 2600 Plus that can go next to the Atari 2600 Plus or the Atari 7800 Plus that I also have updated. What went wrong in Studio B? What went wrong on the two terminals that lacked something to communicate with this device? It wasn't the cable. I'm going to tell you that right now. It wasn't the cable. Before you get in the comments and you're like, oh, you used a different cable. It was the cable. It wasn't the cable. Let's see if we can prove that it wasn't the cable right now. All right. So I just unplugged that cable, and I'm going to plug this one in. All right. And we're going to plug this in. Okay, so we've got it plugged in. We've got it plugged in. So we're going to go back to the update tool real quick. Right? All right, there it is. We're going to hit start. Connect the USB cable. right? Set it to black and white. Turn the power on while holding the game select lever. Oh, I might have proven myself wrong. I might have proven myself wrong. I might have proven myself wrong. That's interesting. It did not do the thing. Turn this off. So we're going to switch back. And I'm going to use this cable. This is the Hyperkin cable that came with my the Hyperkin SNES dog bone controller, the one that was the Kool-Aid controller. So I'm going to plug this one back in. Select. Turn the power on. And it found it. It found it. Huh. Huh. Interesting, interesting, interesting. What I thought was 100% positive might not be as positive. You know what this means? This means we got to go back to Studio B. We got to go back to Studio B to try to definitively solve this. And I had to bring this Hyperkin cable because this cable didn't work. The other one I was using, this little short guy, the old USB-C, that didn't work. Still USB-C, plugged right in. Didn't work. But this guy right here, plug it here. This Hyperkin cable, still USB-C. You can see USB-C. It's braided and nice and fancy. That one did work. That one did work to communicate with the Atari 2600 Plus. So the cable definitely matters. So the Atari is saying something about cables. They definitely matter because we just proved that this cable and that cable are technically different because that one worked and this one didn't. I know that obviously USB cables are different. They have different threadings and they have different gauges and all like that kind of stuff. But for whatever reason, that one worked and this one didn't. Now, I will have to then say my theory was that the cables were going to work. Right? My active going theory was the cables were going to work, and on top of it, they were going to both communicate with the device. Right? We proved that that is not the case. Okay. So then my next thing was that the update tool, the update tool didn't say anything about drivers when I loaded it here, but it did on both machines over at Studio B. Both machines needed to install a driver in order to communicate with the device. So that meant to me that, okay, well, if it said it was going to install the driver, maybe it didn't install the driver correctly or didn't do it at all. When I did it on the second device, when I did the installation on the second device at Studio B, the main machine that you see me sitting at, right? That one has user access control, UAC, that's really strict. I actually have to type in a password, a username and password, in order for it to work, because it's a secure terminal. It didn't prompt me, and it usually always does at the moment you're going to write a driver onto the library. It always prompts for a password because it's a secure computer. But it didn't prompt. It just said, okay, cool, I'm doing this driver thing, and I did it. And I'm like, did you? Did you? I mean, I know you had the UIC prompt in order to run the program in the first place, but there usually is another second prompt anytime you're writing a driver to the computer. So we're still not all the way there for a fix for somebody else, other than the fact that if you have If it's just the cable, if you have a HyperCin USB controller, that's like the cool graphics ones, the one that was like the hot dog, the one that was the translucent red Kool-Aid one, or even just their normal controller, their cable 100% works on both the 7800 and the 2600 plus. We just proved it. I just updated the 2600 plus. Done. But I still think that there's something wrong with the update tool and the driver. I still think that's a thing. Now, let's see if we can find a way to do the driver. Now, I'm going to go on Atari Age, right? And we're going to look for, on the forums, we're going to look for the 2600 plus, the old update tool on the forums. Search 2600 plus update. All right. Stand by, guys. We're searching. Oh, here we go. Firmware, updater, and builds. Okay. All right. So this is the pinned post for the updater, and firmware builds, right? All right. And this one has this updater right here, 2.0.1.4 from 6.9.25. Okay, so this is experimental updater. So 5.6.25. Menu, scramble. Okay. Where is the updater download standard? 5.6.25. Official releases. That's experimental. Official. And then this is 04 EXC. Okay. But that should, yeah, 92. It's the same firmware. Legacy updater firmware. Click here for the legacy firmware updater guide. And that just brings you to the official Atari website. Okay, so that's not it. That's not it. It's not what we're looking for. Because what I'm looking for is, here. Let's see what this IMG is. Because it didn't used to have an all-in-one executable. There was a updater that was on an image. Okay, well, it's not an image. What is this for? Yeah, it can't. It doesn't let me. It doesn't let me look at it. And that's the dumper. All right. So what I was looking for is the driver that is associated with the executable. Now, it looks like they built it into the executable. So there might be something that's not running correctly. And then I was going to try to point you guys. I was like, hey, if you guys have that updater tool and then the driver is missing, use this to do the driver. Now, I will say this big, giant, thing, and I know it's another long video, and I apologize for that. But we're trying to solve a problem here, right? So another big, huge update thing about this. This machine that I'm running this on is a special machine. And why I say special is because I use this machine to interface with other pieces of hardware that are like the 2600 plus and 7800 plus, okay? I connect things like Hyper Megatex Super Pockets and the Evercade VS and the Evercade EXP. They all use the very similar driver for the interface. So this machine already has those drivers, which was the reason why I didn't do a check for the drivers here on this machine. So when I go back to Studio B, the reason why I want to go back now with this cable is because, well, if the cable was the problem all along, then the cable B is the problem all along, and that's the end of the story. But if I bring this with that cable, the same cable I just used to do this, I bring it back over to Studio B and it still doesn't work, then it's the driver problem. Then we know that the executable isn't installing the driver correctly on the workstations that are over at Studio B. And that's why, for other users, it's not working, because it's just not installing the driver. But I did get the exact same symptom when I used that old cable on here, which was it didn't communicate at all. So it's very possible that maybe it does install the driver correctly, and it's just down to this cable, which is weird, because what USB-C cable did Hyperkin use that isn't in, like, that the Atari, like, because users were saying, I used the one that came with the 7800 Plus, it still wasn't working. So, but it worked with this cable. So what's the difference? So anyway, that's the whole process. We're talking through the process, and hopefully this has been helpful or useful to you guys, and that's it. So I'm gonna wrap this one, because we did the thing that we intended to do. I wanted to update this 2600 Plus to the current firmware. Check. I did it. It is now down to either this cable doesn't work and the Hyperkin one does for whatever reason, and that's the issue, or I have the correct driver set on this machine, because I already did have the correct driver set before I even downloaded this executable, and the Studio B machines, both of them, didn't have the driver. Therefore, the executable that you're downloading off of Atari's website doesn't have the correct driver set in there, and or there's a bug in that executable that doesn't install the driver correctly. Therefore, on new machines, you can't interact with the hardware because the driver is not there. So that's where I'm at. That's my professional opinions. I could be wrong. It could be something else. It could be some weird, wacky thing. Like, I'm on Windows 10 here, version whatever, that isn't the same version as over there, and there's something wrong with Windows, so that's why it's working here and not there. It's a million different things could be the thing, but I think we're honing it in. It's either the cable, which is just wild, absolutely crazy, or it's the driver set, which is more likely, but needs more confirmation, and more confirmation we will get. Not today, or maybe in the next couple days. It's the holiday weekend, and then Studio B is where I work. So I don't know. Maybe I'll try to sneak over there and do this again. But because it is it's kind of a hot topic. So we'll see. We'll see what's going on. We'll carry on the adventure as long as everyone else would like me to do so. So that's it, guys. So that's what we got for you. We were successfully able to do the thing and update the 2600 Plus. So I mean, at least I'm pretty happy. I want everybody else to be happy too. Like, I want everybody else to do the thing and have it work and do whatever. But I followed the instructions to the T on this machine. But I know for a fact that the right driver is on this machine prior to downloading any of the other things, because of what I do with the other devices. So I'm pretty sure it's a driver thing, but I'm not 100% that it's a driver thing. I don't know. We'll figure it out. So before we go, though, we got to do one thing only. You guys know what it is. It's the thing. We got to do the thing where we thank every single member of, you guessed it, the Good Times Club. So let's do that right now. Let's thank the EverCanadian, Crimson Cross, George Games, Chris Westerman, Phantom Fiction, Lloyd R. Gem, Papa Pete, the Intellivision Gamer, Ken LaCure, Mr. Shua, John Willett, Gunsy20, Herb Wars, DF, Joe Whitlash, David Valdez, Dan Nastic, Dr. Mark Mad Scientist, Alex Groot, Immortal Sojourn, the Atari Creep, Super Mega Graphics 64. Thank you guys all so much for being members, for being awesome, for getting us 1080p streamer out glory, not only here, but on the Evercade Effect, that's Ed's channel, and the Evercast, and Calling Our Retro Gamers, which is a site that is going to have something on it. Or August 1st is going to be a very bad day for me. Yeah, just drop elbows on me. You guys know. You guys watch some other videos at the end, and then you'll know whether or not to drop elbows or not. I'm going to leave it there. All right. You guys want to be a member, of course, you hit the join button. You can do all the things, do all the YouTube things, leave likes, leave dislikes, leave subscription button, bell for notification stuff, so that me and my face can bring your face some cool goodness, like how to actually fix this problem. Maybe, I don't know. We'll figure it out. We will do it. We will do it together, and then hopefully Atari will do some other things to make it easier for other users that aren't as technically savvy. Figure out what to do to update their console, should they wish to do so. And that's it. That's it, guys. Until next time. We'll catch you next time for some good times. I'm Rich. We will see you later. Take it easy, guys.
RTFC.baconicecream.com